Hey YouTube, what's going on? Snowflakey's Emos here today with another deck profile. Today I am looking at my Legendary Ocean Synchro variant. This is a version of the Legendary Ocean deck that adds some water tuners and some synergies so that I can bring out some cool water synchros that I've always liked, namely the White Aura Bihamut, a really cool boss monster that's not good, but it's very fun to use, and I found this deck to be a good deck to tack cards in that can summon it out pretty effectively and still be an effective deck because the Legendary Ocean stuff is just decently powerful on its own. So with that said, let's get into the cards. Starting off with our monsters, I am playing 3 copies of Ocean Dragonlord Karyushin. Very powerful card in the main win con of the Umi deck. Karyushin is a monster that says while Umi is on the field, each player can only control one face-up non-water monster. And if a player had more than one face-up non-water monster, they have to send monsters to the graveyard until they only have one. This is a very powerful effect. It limits a lot of decks that aren't playing water monsters. And it's not an activated effect, so that makes it a bit harder for certain cards that could negate and deal with it to negate and deal with it. And then it also gets the effect that during your main phase, you can add from the deck to your hand one Umi, one Karyushin spell or trap card, or one Sea Stealth spell and trap card from the deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Ocean Dragonlord Karyushin once per turn. So very powerful effect, has the powerful floodgate effect on the field that will limit what our opponent can summon. In addition, it is a 5-star monster, but when Legendary Ocean's on the field, it will be 4 stars, so we can normal summon it out of our hand. And of course, keeping in mind that it's going to be 4 stars is mostly important for our synchro chain, because we're going to need 4-star monsters as part of it. So the fact that its level goes down to 4 on the field is helpful for getting our synchro monster out. Next, I am playing 3 copies of Electric Jellyfish. Electric Jellyfish is another good card. While Umi is on the field, we can negate a spell or monster effect once per turn as a quick effect, which is pretty sweet. And then, of course, if we do that, we can gain 600 attack, which makes our Jellyfish a little stronger. So having a nice spell and a monster effect negation is a very handy card to have. And additionally, we can also send an Umi from our deck to the graveyard to special summon a water monster from our hand. So that's just a way to thin our deck, get another monster out on the field, and extend further. So another great card to go into. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Warrior of Atlantis. This 4-star water monster reads you can add a Legendary Ocean from the deck to your hand. So it's just a card that searches Legendary Ocean, and we'll play 3 of it so that we can get Legendary Ocean because it's very important for the deck. Next, 1 copy of Mega Fortress Whale. This is just a good card to summon as a deck finisher. Mega Fortress Whale says if Umi is on the field, you can activate this effect so that our water monsters can attack directly this turn, which is nice. It means we don't have to worry about attacking through our opponent's monsters. We can just attack their face instead. And then it also has the quick effect that during our opponent's battle phase, we can target a face-up monster our opponent controls and destroy it. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add 1 to your hand or special summon 1 water warrior monster from your deck or graveyard, which we actually are playing warrior monsters in this build as opposed to the traditional Umi stun build. But so that effect does come in handy. So this card can be searched, of course, off of Karyushin's Dark Wreath. So when we have enough monsters that we're ready to attack directly and play for game, we can summon it. Next are 2 level 5 vanilla normal monsters. Giga Gaga Gigo and Terra King Salmon, each at 1 copy. Again, the level 5 monsters are important for our synchro climbing play because they're going to get reduced to level 4s, and we're going to combine that with our tuner that gets reduced by a level to go into the proper water monster that we need. So having a copy of Giga Gaga Gigo and Terra King Salmon is nice because they can be summoned off of both Fish Radar, and Karyushin's Dark Reef allows us to flood the board with normal monsters, so having more normal monster targets is of course a good thing to have. For our tuner of choice, I am playing 3 copies of Magicalibra. So this is a water normal monster that is a tuner. It's a pendulum card too, but it is a tuner, which is mostly what it is. This is our tuner of choice for making the first part of our synchro climb. The fact that it's a normal monster means that we can summon it off of Fish Sonar and Karyushin's Dark Wreath. And of course, its 4 stars will be knocked down to 3 while Legendary Ocean is on the field, but that is accounted for in our Synchro climb. So just our tuner to start the Synchro climb. Next up, just a couple extra level 5 targets that we are playing in the deck. We got 2 copies of the Legendary Fisherman 2. It's got 2200 attack, and of course, while Umi is on the field, it's unaffected by monster effects. When this card is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can add a level 7 water monster from the deck to your hand, which means this can search our Fortress Whale. So a little handy there, but that effect doesn't come in handy too much. We mostly just want it for the level 5 water monster. And last, we have a copy of Amphibious Boogeroth MK11. While Umi is not on the field, this card gains 700 attack, but cannot attack directly. And then, of course, while Umi is on the field, you can target one face-up non-water monster on the field and destroy it. So that's a pretty little handy effect. Gives us removal once per turn, and of course is just another level 5 water monster we can use. And that is it for the monsters. Next up, for our spells, I am playing 3 copies of a Legendary Ocean. So Legendary Ocean always counts as Umi. It gives our water monsters 200 attack and defense, and it reduces the level of all water monsters on the hand and in the field by 1 star. So that means all our 5 stars can be normal summoned, and that's why we have to account for that when we're synchro summoning. Basically, Magicalibra is going to be a 3 star instead of a 4 star, and our 5 stars are going to be 4 stars instead of 5, which means we're going to be going into a level 7 synchro as the first part of our chain. And so, you know, just a good card. Everything works by having Umi on the field, and that's a good way to get Umi on the field. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of Fish Sonar. Fish Sonar is an incredibly good card. We can either add a level 7 or lower water monster from the deck to our hand that either mentions Umi or is a water normal monster. So it can add Karyushin, it can add any of our vanillas, whatever we're looking for. Then if Umi is on the field, we can special summon a water normal monster from our deck. So that's nice, especially because in this build we have more than 1 water normal target. So it's really easy to just get another monster out of the deck with this card. And, you know, just gets things moving. Next up, I'm playing 1 copy of Fury of Karyushin. This is one of the cards that the Karyushin can search. It adds a Torrential Tribute from the deck to our hand, and then if a water monster or monsters would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard instead. So pretty nice, searching Torrential Tribute, which is a good trap card, and can turn Torrential Tribute into a one-sided wipe. And I'm also playing a copy of Rage of Karyushin. Rage of Karyushin is a quick play spell card that just says if Umi is on the field, we can target monsters our opponent controls up to the number of water monsters we control whose original level is 5 or higher. So that means it doesn't matter that Legendary Ocean is reducing their level. It will still count because their original level is 5 or higher. And we destroy that many monsters. Additionally, our opponent cannot use those zones until the end of their turn. That's pretty handy because Rage of, you know, that just means if we can pop a monster in the extra deck zone, you know, they can't go into any link monsters or anything like that, and just has the ability to destroy a lot of monsters because we can get a lot of level 5 or higher water monsters out on the field. So just a good card, also searchable with Karyushin. And then last for our spells, I'm playing 3 Pot of Extravagance. Just for that extra card advantage, we banish 6 extra deck cards randomly face down to draw 2. We'll just max out on the crucial pieces of our Synchro climb so that we will very likely have 1 left. And even if we did banish all the Synchro cards, you know, the deck can just fall back on a traditional plan as far as winning goes. So, just a good card to have. That's it for all the spell cards. Next, going into our trap cards, I am playing 3 copies of Karyushin's Dark Reef. This is an excellent trap card that really works well in this build, so we send a face-up Umi we control to the graveyard to special summon up to 2 monsters with different names from our hand and or deck that mention Umi or our water normal monsters in defense position. Then if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon any number of level 6 or lower water normal monsters from your hand and or deck. And until the end phase of your next turn, you can't summon any monsters other than water monsters, which, you know, that drawback's not bad. We're only going to be summoning water monsters, but that's nice. That gets us 2 monsters out of our deck, can get us Karyushin, can get us something else, and of course the ability to spam as many normal monsters as possible is nice because that means we can get out plenty of targets to allow us to synchro summon on our follow-up turn, which is mostly what we're going to be doing. So it's a great card. We play it at 3 of, because even though it is searchable, we want to see either this or 1 copy of the next card in our opener, and that is 3 copies of C Stealth Attack, because this card combos so well with Karyushin's Dark Wreath. When this card is activated, you can activate an Umi from your hand or graveyard, which is pretty nice, especially if we just sent it with Dark Wreath. Then we can put it right back so that Karyushin's effect is still online. And then, of course, while Umi is face up, we gain these effects. Once per turn, you can banish a water monster you control until the end phase. Your face-up spell and trap cards cannot be destroyed. So that's nice. That'll protect our legendary ocean so that it can't go offline. And then Karyushin will stay activated, which will make it hard for our opponent to interrupt our plays, which is pretty good. And then, of course, at the start of the damage step, if a water monster whose original level is 5 or higher battles an opponent's monster, we can destroy that monster. So another powerful effect, because so many of our monsters are going to be level 5 or higher. So it's just really good. Card to have, again, at 3, because we want to see either it or Dark Reef, and then we can search the other with Karyushin. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Torrential Tribute, really powerful trap card that just says when a monster is summoned, we destroy all monsters on the field. Again, searchable with Fury of Karyushin, and can be one-sided when Fury of Karyushin is in the graveyard. And, you know, just an all-around good trap. So we'll play 2 copies of it for that reason. And last, I am playing 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. Solemn Judgment just protects our board setup. We pay half our life points to negate a summon or a spell or trap card activation. So if they're going to out our Karyushin lock or something like that, and we've already spent Electric Jellyfish, just another good option to have. A good emergency button, and just adds a little power to an extra end board. And that is it for the main deck. Going into our extra deck, I am playing 3 copies of Deep Sea Prima Donna. So, of course, Deep Sea Prima Donna is a level 7 water synchro, which we can make by combining our Magicalibra here with any of our level 5 monsters, such as Karyushin or any of the vanillas that we've seen, because their levels will equal 7 while Legendary Ocean is on the field, and then we will make Deep Sea Prima Donna, who will become a level 6 while on the field. So Deep Sea Prima Donna, of course, has a pretty useful effect that if we synchro summon a monster using this card as one of the materials, that monster cannot be targeted by opponent's monster effects, which is pretty nice. And, of course, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a banished card and shuffle it into the deck. So good way to recycle a banished card. But essentially, Deep Sea Prima Donna is just the starter synchro of choice because it's a 7-star, which we'll be able to make, and then Legendary Ocean will knock it down to a 6-star, and it's a tuner, which means all we need is another level 5 monster, and we can go into basically the main card I want to make in this deck, which is 3 copies of White Aura Bihamut. So Bihamut, of course, is a 10-star synchro that requires a tuner synchro monster and 1 non-tuner monster. It's 10 stars, so again, our 6-star Prima Donna, which is 7 stars normally, but now 6 because of Legendary Ocean, and one of our 5-star monsters, that will be 4, can make it. It's a 3200 attack monster that says during your turn, when this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon a Divine Dragon token, which is a fish water monster level 10 with 3,300 attack and 3,000 defense, which is the same as this card, in defense position. Once per opponent's turn, while you control no tokens, quick effect, you can special summon a Divine Dragon token. If this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and was sent to the graveyard while you control a Divine Dragon token, you can special summon this card. So it's pretty cool. A 3300 attack monster that summons another 3300 attack monster, and if this monster goes away while the token's on the field, it just comes right back, and if you remove the token, this card can summon the token again during your opponent's turn. So your opponent could definitely play around it and get rid of it, but it's just a huge powerhouse, and those 2 3300 attacks combo super well with your Mega Fortress Whale to just get a lot of direct damage on your opponent. and close out the game. This is the main goal of this deck. I've always really liked this card, so I wanted to find a way to summon it. I was using Tenyis before, but now I'm using Legendary Ocean, and in the future, that White Aura stuff, you know, may pick that up and see how well it works. It just depends on if it's, you know, if Umi is just better for it, just because Umi may be a better deck because of its powerful Floodgate effect. Next, I'm also playing 2, aiming to get a 3rd copy of White Aura Monoceros. This is a nice card we can go into if we're not fully ready to make the climb from Prima Donna into White Aura Bihamut, because it's a 7-star water synchro that just says when this card is synchro summoned, you can target a fish monster in your graveyard and special summon it. That, of course, is our Terra King Salmon, which is why it's a good card to play. And of course, if this card is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, we can banish 1 water monster from the grave, and if we do, special summon this card, and then it's treated as a tuner. So, you know, we can let this card get removed, get a monster back from our, get this monster back out, which makes it hard to deal with, especially because it's over level 5, which means see stealth attack, things that battle it are going to get destroyed, and will then be a tuner, so that in a future turn we can make White Aura Bihamut. So just another good card to go into. As far as the other extra deck cards go, I just shove in 6 more cards that fill out the extra deck. Those are really the only ones I'm making. Otherwise, I want to sit on Kyushin. You can put in level 4 XZs, which work pretty well. Other level 7 synchro stuff, like Black Rose, is fine. But, you know, I mostly just cram it with filler to be extravagance fodder. So again, that is it for my Legendary Ocean Synchro deck profile. That is, you know, just a fun version of Legendary Ocean that can make a monster I really like a lot, White Aura Bihamut. It's definitely a weaker version of the Legendary Ocean deck. It's not as good as just playing a pure stun variant, but it can get out White Aura Bihamut and fall back on a playstyle that is generally good on its own. And then, of course, it does have some synergies that work with it anyway. So it just makes a fun version if you want to switch up what you're doing with the Legendary Ocean. You know, show something off that's pretty cool. I enjoy doing things like that. So let me know what you think. I'd love to know where you're playing White Aura Bihamut. Are you excited for the new White Aura cards coming? Well, I'll be looking into those when they come out. Until then, I'll catch you all in the next one.